All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the various ways that we can manipulate fills and also what's known as blend modes. So the first thing we might think about here is that we've got a lot of menu items open, right? We've got all these different styles and da 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 da, right? You'll notice in the upper right hand corner of most windows, you will get this little button that says collapse to icons. Okay, so you can essentially turn everything into little teeny icons if you know what they look like. All right, so we had brushes, we had all those other stuff open. So I'm going to take my graphic styles and my artistic paintbrushes and my artistic stuff here, and I'm going to simply slide that over to the side, and instead I'm going to have um, a window that has what we call graphic styles. Okay, so in the graphic styles, and again, you'll find that window in graphic styles in case it isn't open. And there's a lot of cool things we can do now, right? So I added a few other shapes into this little composition we were working on to show you a few things. So say, for example, you want to put something other than a color in any shape. It doesn't really matter, but it has to be a shape because the strokes are what we were talking about earlier. So if we click on graphic styles, there's a few things that they just give you right away, right? Some of these are outlines and some of these are, little gradients and maybe some silver stuff. It might have an outline and blah, 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 right? So there's all kinds of cool, fun things that you can do, but there's also a library right here. So if we click on the library, we get complete. Oh, awesome. We get these little effects down here, right? And we have a little library right here. And so as soon as you click on any one of these libraries, it will open up into another little window here. Like I got 3D effects, I have artistic effects, I have illuminated styles, and these are all come from here, right? So every time I click on any one of these, I'll get a little window. And so each one of these windows has other cool, fun things. So if an object is selected and then you just click anything, it will just turn it into that little effect, right? So this is kind of fun. Easy way of thinking about it. There it goes. So neat, fun things that you can do with filled objects. Okay, so we've got plenty of neat things with gradients and so on, and now we have little styles that we can add. These are edge. If there's no fill, it's an edge style, and if it's got a fill, it's got either an edge style and a fill. Uh-oh. Some of these clearly take a little longer. And the reason why this Illustrator has suffered from what is known as feature creep. And I'm going to just stop that because I don't feel like waiting for it. There it goes. And so they've added all this stuff, but in reality, these things are still all vectors. So they take a lot of space. So your file sizes are going to start really growing as you start to play around with these different effects. Okay, so just keeping things more on the simple side, you'll notice that no matter what I click on, it replaces that object with a different fill. So you can only have one of these on at a time. Okay. Oh, geez. Some of these, like I said, take a while to render. I'm just gonna click back on that, just because I don't want to wait. All right, so neat, fun things that you can do with fills. The next thing that we might want to do is sort of play around with what are known as blend modes, okay? And you get the blend modes in a couple of different places. But primarily what you do is you go to transparency. Remember, we had that transparency tab up here. In case you didn't have that open, you'll find it, transparency, right down in here. Okay, so anyway, what you can do is you can pull down this little menu right here. It says normal at the top, but if we click on it, you can play around with things with different effects, and you'll notice that depending on what that object is over or under, it will do different things. Okay, so we can do another one here, and you can add, you know, all kinds of cool stuff, right? So these will become composite. In other words, if we add more and more blend modes to objects further and further down the stacking order, you'll get different effects depending on the color, the texture, and so on. And so these are fun, exciting things that you can do with your shapes as well. And remember that you can only have one of these elements on at a time. So if you have exclusion on or difference or whatever, that's the only thing you can have. If you decide you don't like the effect, you could just go back to normal. Okay, so that's pretty much how this works. So let's just pretend, let's do something more fun. We were doing something with exclusion, which is, I liked difference better. There we go. You can also change the opacity. Remember, I'm using my scroll wheel, right? And so the scroll wheel can easily move the numbers down, and I can play around with that transparency there as well. So we have these fun graphic styles, and we have blend modes. And so that's the last of the tricks that I'm going to show you in this particular group of videos. All right, so more fun than a barrel of monkeys, and have at it.